Hey everybody, I am with Jenna Leigh Miller today, and I am so excited for you to hear her story. Jenna, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to meet you. I actually found you on Reels on Instagram, and it was so cute. I was scrolling through and I forget which one it was. I'm gonna have to go back and look in my messages, but it was so cute. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to text you. I think I just texted you, like, I found you on Reels and this is really great.
Yeah,
So anyway, it's nice to meet you. Like,
reels are where it's at.
I love it. So tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is Jenna Leigh Miller. I am a New York City-based actress, theater and brand coach with my own business called Problem Solved, and I am a social media manager for arts-based small businesses mostly. Yeah, and I got my BFA in musical theater from Otterbein University. I'm a city girl through and through. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here because I'm a huge lover of community over competition and artists supporting other artists. So for me, like to find a community like this is just like it just warms my heart.
Yay, I love it. I didn't know you went to Otterburn. I'm an Ohio girl too. Well, I'm from
Oh,
Ohio and I went to college in Ohio, so very
oh
cool.
my God.
Very cool.
Small world.
All right. So how did you get started with your business?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Problem Solved is theater and brand coaching for all artists. So it kind of started in college when I would perform in class, and then my classmates would be like, "Hey, that was a really cool song. Like, could you help me like find one?" I'd be like,
Hmm.
yeah, of course. And then every year I take an audition road trip. Like, I start in New York and then go to New Jersey and Pennsylvania, then out to like Indiana and Michigan, up to Chicago and Wisconsin, and then like it's like my vacate work
Love it.
vacation because it's like you audition in the morning and then like you go explore the town at night.
Love it.
And I would have friends come with me and they'd be like, where are you finding these auditions? Like, how are you doing this? How are you planning this? And then that's when I created my non-equity theater list. And
Ah,
and then I started selling that because everyone was like, can I get some of that? And then, it became a point where I was like consistently helping people and I was like, light bulb, like this
I
is
love
a
it.
business, Jenna.
I love it.
And then in 2018, I had an official launch party in New York
I
City, and it had other small business arts. So it was like artists who also had side hustles. We had
love it.
other vendors, it had food, it had an open mic, it had a photographer there. Like it was just like a combination of like my blood, sweat, and tears into
Love
this
it.
business. And then, from there, it just started to grow, and then when COVID hit, I lost all my day jobs in New York. I lost three contracts. I had to move back home. And I was just like, the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh, finally a break. I was like, oh, I can relax. And then, 2 weeks later, I was like twiddling my thumbs. I was like, I'm so bored. I got to do something. And then I jumped like full force into my business. And now, between Problem Solved and social media management, like, I don't have a day job anymore. Like I'm my own boss. And like the freedom that comes with that, I will say the freedom does not come until you put the work in. It
Mhm.
didn't start with that, I feel like entrepreneurs sell
Thank
that
you.
freedom,
Thank you.
that like you can create your own schedule and you're your own boss and it's awesome. It is, but you have to work to get there. And I'm finally just reaping those, I'm starting to reap those rewards now.
Thank you. And I didn't know that you also, so I'm going to circle back to something you just said. because I'm adamant, I talk about multiple streams of income, right? You had a day job and you had a side hustle that you were like, but
Oh,
pre-2008, it wasn't like your number one stream,
yeah.
and you had your career.
Yep. Oh,
So you were working at all the things.
I had 5 day jobs,
Thank you.
plus problem solve,
Thank you.
plus contracts, plus auditioning, which is a full-time job in itself, you know?
100%. Thank you. And um, this is not something that's going to make you $1 million overnight. You are not going to have the freedom. Thank you for and work, and eventually
Yes.
you will get there. So I don't want people to get discouraged if
Right.
like the first month they hang up their shingle, people there's not a line out the door. Like
Right.
like it is okay, and
Yeah.
this is how it's supposed to build. And I feel too, like if you had all the action and all the business that you have now, would that have been like overwhelming at the beginning too?
It would have been so overwhelming because it didn't even cross my mind that like, oh, I'm gonna quit these other day jobs to do this. Like that, like I knew that ultimately that was the goal.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
always want it to be the goal. It is still
Mhm.
something I achieve, social media management is, that steady income that, you need as an artist.
Yeah.
But eventually, I would love problem solve to be how I make my steady income,
Yep.
which I am making consistent money. And like, as I said before, I don't have day jobs anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but moving forward, that is the goal.
I love that. But you did at the beginning and then you
Yep.
worked toward that goal. So
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly. And because I'm a firm believer that you can really start with nothing and then grow. And then as you make more money, I am a firm believer that you do need to invest in your business, time, money, support,
Mhm.
outsourcing. And
Yes.
that's things that like you need to start doing as you start making money. And then when you start doing those things, you start growing more and more and more. But you have to work up to that.
Thank you. And now that the business is coming back, show business is coming back, how is that going to work with your career?
You know, I have been waiting so long for this moment that it's like I can talk about problem solved, that I just had a huge problem solved sale, and it was amazing because actors were like, "Oh, I can't wait to get some new material, find auditions." Like it was freaking amazing to see that like passion, that fire ignited again.
Mhm.
I will say, merging my pre-COVID life to my now life, um, we are walking that line right now. We're starting to walk it. So I wish I had an answer for
Yeah,
you, but I think I'm living it. I will say I am my own boss. The freedom to like create my own schedules coming
yeah,
in. Like I just hired my second problem solved employee. Like I'm outsourcing things,
yeah.
and um you know, I think it's going to work well. And if it's not, then you just pivot and adjust. So I wish I had an answer for you, but
No,
that's
it's
my answer.
that's fine, and this is a whole new normal, and it's
Yeah,
fluid, and we're finding that balance, right? You're finding how it's gonna
exactly.
work and what it's gonna work. And guess what? Your goals might change. Some jobs that you might have taken before that you might have wanted before, you might not, you might do this and say,
Yeah,
is it worth it? Would I rather do that? So I love that you're adjusting your priorities and you're making sure that you want to do what you want to do and
yeah.
you're finding that. So that's super cool. That's
Thank
super
you.
cool. Awesome. Let's see. So, oh, were there any the business of the problem solved in social media management. Were there any blocks, reservations, or self-limiting beliefs that you ran into? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Yeah. So, excuse me. You know, when it comes to problem solved, I feel like my limiting belief was there's not enough people to buy my services and products. That I was like, theater is so niche, Like the Broadway market is only so big,
Hmm.
but you know, it's funny because in 2020 slash 2021, I have met more people than I have the 4 years living in New York City.
Wow.
And I think that is just when my mind just really just blew up, because it really shows that, like, yes, people always say like, oh, the theater community is so small, everyone knows everyone, but it is so big. It is so big. And I feel like that is something that I had to work through,
Mm.
that actually recently only set in. Like, think about all the people you've met this past year plus,
Wow.
Jenna,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then when it came to social media management, I think there is a little imposter syndrome, just because, like, obviously I went to school for musical theater, but I've taken, many of course on social media. And it's just like, no, no, you have the skills. People are coming to you for your expertise, and it's just like, you just got to do it. But I would be lying if I said I never had that imposter syndrome kind of creep in, you know? We've
How
all
do
been there.
you, I love it. Like, how do you get over well, other people do social media management, so why would they come to me? How do you get over that?
I read a
Or did you have
quote.
that? Because that's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was always kind of a side job for me. Like, in the summers in college, I would take over an account and like manage it. And like,
nice.
it's always kind of been, in my wheelhouse.
Yep.
But I read a quote that was like, there are less qualified people doing what you do because they have the courage to do the thing.
Mm,
And like, to me, that was like, ooh, and it's so true.
so true.
It's so true. And you know what? That really became true when it was time to increase my pricing. And it was like, okay, I've had clients, I've had good feedback, I have samples and examples of proof that
Mhm.
I can do these things. And I
Yep.
was like, it's time.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, oh, what are one of the favorite things about what you do?
Uh, Well, I mean, as I said before, I'm all about the community that comes with theater. So, I mean, just the access I have to playing just a small part in someone's career. One of the best sellers of Problem Solved is the audition book revamp, where I get to know you and your voice, and I hand pick material for you. And I always say, like, if you don't love your audition book as much as you love your favorite food, then
Mm.
you're not doing something right.
Oof. So when I went into every audition and just sang "You Are Love" and just hit the high note and left, like that wasn't right, right? Like I was like that wasn't a good choice. Really? I'm
Yeah.
like,
I
hmm.
always say, like, I always say to clients, like, it should be hard for you to decide what to sing because you love your material that much.
You would cringe. Oh my God, I'm thinking about like that now. And just like, I was like, what? Like, I'm a soprano who can kick her face. So I'm gonna go in there and sing my high note and leave. And like maybe going in and blasting their ears every audition wasn't the best choice, but so we
Yeah,
all need a Jenna Leigh Miller in our life to like go through a book and like dissect what's really in there.
yeah, exactly,
Oh
exactly.
my
And,
God, that's so
like, that to me is just like so rewarding, that it's like, when I send the material out and I get an email back, like, this is exactly my vision, like, this is what I need. It's just like, just warms my heart.
that I mean, because you live with your book, right? And like that's
Yep.
like it should be a reflection of you. And I think that's
Oh, yeah.
something I guess they talk about it. I feel that I didn't hear. Whether I heard it or not, I didn't hear it. I didn't process it that there are pretty notes, but then you need to have the message. I mean, I know people say
Yeah.
that all the time, but like I don't think we necessarily get that. I feel like
Yeah.
we feel like we need to go in and like show off. And you can help someone, it sounds like, if some you find a book that like helps someone show off them and who
Yeah.
they are, th- that that's going to do so much more for the team, for them, for their, even just who they are as a person, to go in and be able to show them and not feel like they have to go in and show what they think they need to show off.
Yes, exactly. You need to click and resonate and understand your material. And like one of the things, yes, you need songs you love and are connected to, but also you need songs that, are going to show range, are going to show your good stuff, like all the technical things. Like you do need that. So it's like this would be a good song for an open call when they're
Yeah.
seeing 500 people. This
Yeah.
would be a good one if you have like longer or two cuts or things like that. And
Yeah.
that's stuff we go over because there you need all those things in your book,
Yeah.
not just your belt song or not just your character song or
Come
you
on.
know?
But sometimes we're taught that, and it's,
Yeah.
and but yeah. Oof, I love it. Okay. All right. So shameless plug. I could talk about this for you forever. Uh, okay. Shameless plug time. So thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. Um, Please, shameless plug. Like, where can we find you? All the things. What do you offer? I know we kind of touched on it, but if you could like definitely bullet out like everything that
Yeah.
you offer.
Yeah, so you can follow my personal page, which I give, audition behind the scenes and theater tips and social media tips, is at Jenna Leigh Miller. And then if you want to follow my theater and brand coaching business, it's at Problem Solved by Jenna. And then my websites and Pinterest and all Facebooks all match those handles. Um,
Love it.
but yeah, I have a boot camp, a branding boot camp called Branding Like a Boss,
Yeah.
that will be relaunching. And it is for actors, artists, performers who want to use social media to further their career. And it wasn't until I got my first audition appointment in a DM that I was like, I don't believe this.
When was that? What
Wasn't,
year?
I'm sorry, what?
What year was that?
2 years ago. And then it wasn't until I got multiple podcast interviews requests through the DM that I was like, oh, this isn't real. It wasn't until I got my first clients through Pinterest that I didn't think it was a big deal. And I can go on and on and on this list that if you brand yourself properly, that doors will open.
Mm,
It will 100% open. Getting followed by theaters that I want to work at, or
yeah.
people in my industry that I like really look up to following me or having interactions with them. Like things like that are possible, but you need to know the strategies in order to attain them. And that's what I teach in
I
this
love
boot
it.
camp. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
Other than that, I do social media audits and monologue packages. I sell an audition book revamp, for you templates if you need some pretty Instagram templates, for stories and such. Um, Work sessions that if you want to prep an audition, the I have e-courses, Instagram e-courses, how to organize and maintain your audition and music books. I mean, the list, a cover letter package, with
Nice.
templates, like the list goes on. I definitely try to share a wide variety when it comes to theater and branding because I really, really, really believe they go hand in hand, especially now that things are, I don't like to say 100%, but 98% virtual right now.
Yeah.
That your social media really is your digital portfolio and it needs to showcase you and your talents and your personality and all those good things.
Oh yeah. And so you mentioned, so like the branding like a boss. If you find your brand and you find what you need, I assume you will also have resources. So you go through branding like a boss and you're like, OMG, my website is totally not like this. I assume you have resources where you
Oh
can say
yeah.
like, hey, go to this designer, go, I like this person. Like I assume you can like farm out and like
Yep.
recommend stuff as well too.
We absolutely do that. And we also cover websites in the course.
Perfect. Yep.
So that is
Perfect.
something that we cover because, again, you want your branding to be the same across all your platforms, all of them,
Mhm.
all
And
the same.
I feel like you touched on outsourcing earlier. Um, I definitely try to do some things on my own, but then if I outsource it, it will look 1,000 times better and it'll look more professional. And you don't have to spend $1 million,
Right.
but you can get someone to do a very basic thing that will look better. It'll take them 30 minutes, something that'll take you hours and hours and hours to do.
Yep.
Um, you know, I read a quote somewhere. It's like, yes, it's only 1 hour job for me, but I've spent hundreds of hours so I can make that job,
Yep.
so I can
One
do the
hour.
job in 1 hour. So I think, it is important to have all of those pieces. Yes, you could probably figure it out yourself,
Yeah. Which
but
at the beginning I did. Like I
yeah, 100%.
completely did this all my websites are done by me. Like
Yep.
that's all DIY, teaching myself, which I'm all about. But I think with growth comes outsourcing
Yeah.
and investing,
Yeah.
which are
Oh,
necessary.
that's something else I want to talk about. So, um, a block that I found, is sometimes people are like, OMG, I want to start this new business, but I feel like I have to like pour $5,000 into like a new side hustle, right? So say I want to SAT tutor high school kids, right? So I'll spend like, I need like a name and a website and like branding and like colors and a new social media account, and all these things. um, I don't think that you need to spend a ton of money up front until you find your thing. Like try a few things and see what hits. Like just can you confirm, did you spend all this money at the beginning to create the social media branded business, or like kind of take me on that beginnings of your journey there?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously in college, I was doing it with word of mouth
I
between,
love it.
like Venmoing, you know,
I
and
love
then
it.
once I was nearing towards the end of college, the last semester we learned how to build a website, and it was
Oh,
like it was required to build an actor website, and then
nice.
I just took that and just decided to make a website. So like at the beginning, yes, I did hire someone to make a logo for me.
Mhm.
Um, just because, listen, I'm all for an aesthetic. I've just always been that
Talking
way.
to the branding person.
I've always been that way. So yes, I did hire someone to build my logo. I built my website. Obviously, you have to pay for it. So, I spent probably around $500, which save up from Christmas and your
Yep.
birthday, and you're good
100%.
to go. Like,
100%.
and to me, it was that's all you really need. And then social media is free.
Oh,
Obviously, as I said again, there is a point when growth is starting to come and you've reached a plateau, which
yeah.
there will always be a plateau at some point in your business
Yep.
where you need to either hire a coach, outsource, or invest in a course or
Mhm.
something like that in order to grow more and at a
Yep.
faster rate. But those things are free. You know,
Yeah.
I have a quote that was coined during my Branding Like a Boss boot camp that was start where you are and grow as you go.
Yep.
Because there's no point in looking back. Like, just show up and do the thing,
Yep.
and then we can grow as we go, you know?
Love it. Oh, and what technologies you mentioned that like you have e-courses, and yes, you have a website for like e-courses and all that. What are your favorite? Like I like Kajabi for my courses. Are there any things that you want to recommend?
Yeah, so I use Squarespace for all my websites and all
Mhm.
my e-courses and all the good things.
Nice.
I freaking love it. I think it is really user friendly and it's really good. the amount of you pay is really worth the quality.
Yeah.
And then I use Flowdesk for emails. And I'm trying to think what else.
Do you use like an Asana or a Trello, like how do for your project management?
Listen, I'm gonna show you right now. I am so old fashioned that like this is my planner.
I
Like
love it.
like
I love
this
it.
is like I just don't work well when like my notes and things and like schedules are on a digital, just because like obviously social media is all digital. I'm on my phone and my computer all day, that I just like to have things like in my hands.
I love to cross off things, right? Like, isn't that the most like best feeling? Like physically
Oh
crossing
my
off
God.
something.
Absolutely. Yep. It is the best. I'm a list maker, type A. Like for me, just like being able to see it is just like
Yeah.
priceless.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
See? You can do it anyway. Oh, how does your side hustle work with your acting career? We kind of talked about that in a process. Oh my goodness, we're at the last question. Is there anything else you want to talk about before you go? Anything you want to mention that we haven't touched on yet?
Um, I think the last thing that I'll like share is like if you have ever been wanting to, get out of your day jobs that I always say like I didn't hate my day jobs pre-COVID, but I was always like, like I wish I was doing more problem solved, or I wish I was doing something else. I wish I didn't have all these horrible bosses. Like, if you've ever wanted to do that and you have like a passion or drive to do something else, like start it off as like a side business and then like see what happens. Like
Well,
just show up consistently
mhm.
and see what happens, you
I
know?
love I love that. Yeah, literally. And is there any advice you have for questions and anything else that you wish you would have known when you started your business?
Ooh, I wish I would have known. It is okay to outsource, hire a coach, um, do all the things sooner and not feel like you have to do everything by yourself.
Oh,
I felt for so long like this is my business, my baby, that I had to do everything myself, and I was running out of hours in the day,
yeah.
and I was reaching a plateau because I ran out of hours. And then once I hired someone and outsourced and like joined some courses, then it was like phew, like things started to grow so much faster, you
So
know?
true. Like, that's why e-courses, and I always talk about like that's online courses are so incredibly important because like you
Yeah.
said, there's one Jenna.
Yeah.
You have so many hours in the day, but if 10 people want to learn about like cover letters, right? Like you only have time to do one-on-one. And for me, for scalability, I only have so much time.
Right.
And my hourly rate, what my personal time I have family and I have a
Yeah.
survival job and I have all these things. And it's like, my time is incredibly precious. And so instead of someone booking one-on-one time with me, if they could take a course with literally exactly what I would talk about, and yes, there are like everyone has specific nuances, but like let's get the basics on a course, right? So then they can learn that. And then if they do schedule one-on-one time with me, it's specialized and you can go more into more of the things and all the basics are taken care of in an online course, and at least you can get that information out there and they can learn and you can grow and you can help others that way. So
Absolutely. I'm
so
I'm off I'm off workhorse.
so I'm like it's so important. And um I think just to circle back, it's like this is something people were coming to in college for, right? They'd be like, oh, that was so cool, how can you help me? And there's so many things that you may not think that you're an expert on. Like maybe friends come to you for like audition outfits, right? Like maybe you're really good at thrifting and like people come to you all the time like, oh, how did you find that, where did you find that? Maybe you're really good at relationship advice. Maybe you are really good at I don't know, maybe you got a really high SAT score in school. Like there's so many things that
Yeah. You
people are
don't
kind
even
of,
realize.
yeah, that you don't even realize you're an expert at. So, like you said, just try the thing and throw a couple things out there and see what hits and see what you enjoy doing and how you can help others. So,
Yeah. That's what it's
very
about, helping others. That is
cool.
that has always been a core value of Problem Solved, and that is still true to this day. Moving forward, it is all about artists helping artists.
And like you said, it's a community
Yeah.
and especially in this business, it's so hard. We are not competing against each other. Yes, for some roles there is one role, but it's not about that. And I feel like that's something that I missed that I didn't have when I was auditioning.
Yeah.
And it's a community and we're all in this together. It's
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I'm
You're
of the belief that, you know, you want to be a person who reaches their hand out to pull someone else up instead of tearing them down, to help them gain success and, in their career. I'm a firm believer in that.
You are a performer helping other performers perfect their auditions and their skills. And you may have someone who you're auditioning against, but you will still help them
Absolutely.
create a good book and create a brand. And it's not a lack mindset. You have
Yeah,
yeah, that-
absolutely. And it's like, why can't we just clap for each other instead of comparing to
yeah,
each other?
that's
Why can't we just clap for each other?
yeah, that's very cool. Anyway, it was so nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Jenna Lee Miller, everybody.